The following is an audio interview between law enforcement and those who witnessed the tragic incident at the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade when Darrell E Brooks drove his mother's red Ford Escape through the parade. 6 people lost their lives that day, more than 70 sustained injuries, and the numbers of those emotionally traumatized is beyond the hundreds. Some may find this audio difficult to listen to. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's gonna be rather informal, okay? Um, you both were at the parade?
Yes,
Okay. Were you in the parade or spectating?
spectating.
Spectating, okay. Where were you?
We were on the south end, right in front of Nice Ash Bar. I have a picture of where we were standing. I took a video of the band.
Nice
We were right in
Ash.
front of Nice Ash, across from the Clark Hotel,
Okay.
on the south side of the street.
Do you have video of the incident?
I don't have video of the
No.
incident. I have video of just the band playing. That was the only video I shot of the day.
Okay. Is there a reason it's of the North Marching Band?
Both of my kids marched North Marching Band. We have marched in that parade. My wife and I both have marched in the Christmas parade with North. We were band parents for 5 years, and we just and we love the parade. So that's why we're still connected with a lot of the parents and stuff from North.
Okay. So, based on what you're telling me and your location, you're in a pretty bad spot.
We were in a
We
really
had
bad.
somebody get hit right in front of
Yeah,
us, inches from us, from me.
And she hit right in front of us. We saw it was cold. One of the highlights of that parade is the balloon, right? The hot air, it blows up.
Yeah.
We saw it. I was looking down the way, looking at it. I was like, oh, okay, I see it. And at that point is when I saw the car coming at me. At that point, and he was moving. Officer, he was moving.
Okay.
He was coming quick. I told Vera, I said, after it was all done, when we got home, I said, it was a Ford. I thought it was an Explorer, but it was an Escape. Same thing, just smaller. His right above his light was all dented in. You could tell he had smacked something at that point, but he came right from us to where you were at. I mean, you blew past. Vera felt the wind and when he got right past us, he smacked into the lady. She went up.
So he hit her twice,
Yeah,
literally.
Okay.
we went and I ran. The friend of mine that was with us, Dan, we ran to her. Everybody just went at that point.
Okay.
We
To
ran.
us,
We ran to her, and she was on her side at that point. Oh,
Back
sorry.
up. Back
Sorry.
up 1 second.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want to forget this, and maybe I'm wrong because your track of thought's great. When you said he was speeding and accelerating, what kind of observations did you have that made him believe that he was coming at you guys rather fast?
He was I can't describe it. He was coming at a very rapid pace, and
Okay.
we were extremely close. We were in that parking jut out right there. It was in between the two trees. You know how they have the trees, and then it comes in, and then there's parking spaces there.
Yeah.
We were right almost at the edge. I was standing there. Dan was standing next to me, and then his niece, and then Vera was right there. We had maybe this far of a cushion from the edge, from the road, from where the parade route. And I mean, we were probably 18, 24 inches from the car passing by.
I didn't even see it because I was sitting and Dale was standing behind me.
Okay.
And I didn't even realize it was coming because I was looking the other way because I was looking at the people and just whatever. So I was looking to my left when the car came from my right.
Yeah.
And I look and he smacked her right in front of me. I mean, and it was like a hard,
It's
and I saw her body go up. In front of, by the time he got there, he crossed over and was in front of the
almost.
the coffee shop, the Steaming Cup.
Well, it was before
She
that. It was just a
landed
little. It was a little bit before
right
People's
before.
Park, right before People's Park on that side, because she was on the south side of the street.
Okay.
She was in between There used to be an art gallery or something right there, but she landed right there, and she was on her side. And
we ran over.
We ran over to her, and we're like, "Don't move her! Don't move her! Don't move her!" And then that lady came over that was either working with her or marching with her. They were from. So Dan had her head, I had her back like this. We were keeping her from moving, and then we were checking her feet for a pulse.
She was. And
then a paramedic, or he was a paramedic or an EMT. I don't remember what he was. He came over and he goes, "I'm off duty." He was in plain clothes, and he says, "She's not breathing. We need to do CPR." So we gently rolled her over.
Yeah.
He opened up her airway, and I was doing compressions, and we rotated out 3 times. We did compressions and CPR for.
That we didn't even attempt to try to do, and then by the time the paramedics came and they said, "Give me the mouthpiece that we need to do mouth to mouth," she hasn't had any mouth to mouth because they were doing the compressions.
She would. Yeah, the paramedic was there, the off duty guy. I don't know his name. I don't know who else was there. He kept saying, "Don't worry about breath." He said, "Don't worry about that. Keep compressing." So we just kept that going, and that kind of led me to believe she wasn't.
Well, I could see she had a literal tire mark.
She did have it. And we got home, and we were texting our pastor and over there, and he texted us back later. He said,
she was somebody from our church.
Somebody from our church, and I had I work at the door at church, and I just greeted them that morning. It was one of the ladies from.
But they came to even put the pads on her, and when the electric shock machine, the AED or whatever,
and they put it on there, and they put
said,
the blood patch, and
"There's
then
no bother."
He said no need.
No need.
They said
right,
there's
no
need. At that point, she had passed. He was moved. I looked, and I saw the flame for the balloon, and then it right below it. He was really close, and he was just moving. I'm like, what? And like right past us, I saw him. We moved back, and then like right at that wall is where she struck her, and then moved back. It was so quick.
Do you think with the first initial impact that she traveled some distance?
She did
yes.
a little bit. Well, what happened? She flipped up, landed on the hood as he was moving, and then she slid down.
And carried her, and then she slid off the hood, and he went.
It was one of that's the thing that messes us up a little bit the most was it sounded like, I described it to my past, it sounded like if you took 2 fists and beat as hard as you could on the hood. That's the kind of impact, that's what it sounded like.
Okay.
He hit her, she went up, she came down as they were moving, and then just, that was probably 20 yards, 25 yards from the time she hit her to the time where she landed and where we wound up running to her. If that makes sense.
No, it makes plenty of sense.
And then he was giving compressions, and while he was giving compressions, I wanted to see how far ahead it went because I thought it was a car that went rogue in the actual parade, like somebody had a stroke or something and hit the gas, and it was like a confined type thing. We had no idea that this was like an entire, and I'm like, where's the car? What happened to the car? Did they stop the person? Whatever. And then that's where I went over and saw all the grannies, the dancing grannies in their blue and white outfits that light up.
Yeah.
And we saw the man, and then the one lady was obviously deceased. There was.
Okay.
I saw and I went further ahead to see where's the car, what's happening with that, kind of like trying to get a grasp of what was happening because, it's utter mass chaos at this point in time.
Right.
And I saw the gentleman that got hit, the husband, Bill, We helped him a little bit.
We wound up helping him later on. I did.
And then I saw the one lady that was obviously deceased. Some people spent time with her, but they just covered her up with blankets. And then one of the other crannies was obviously, they tried to do CPR, and then they covered her up in a gurney, in one of those metal blankets. And then, so we went back, and then by that time, all the ambulance were coming, and was gone. They took her, like, physically.
She had passed. They put her on a gurney. I do remember that. And then I started walking catty corner over towards People's Park, and I have blood on my hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And we know the lady at People's Park. So she had closed up, but the door was open, and I said, "Hey, can I wash out?"
Right.
So I washed my hands and went in there, and then I walked across the street in front of the art gallery where Vera and Larissa and our friends were, and then they started bringing
triaging people.
Then they started bringing the band kids, the South kids over. So there was 3 South kids laying over, and I noticed one lady was having a hard time. It was his mom, and his name was Taylor, and he was laying in the street. I don't know the name. Main Street in People's Park, or
Right.
Steaming Cup is here. People's Park is here. He was laying on that street there, that way. She was having a hard time with him, and he kept saying, "I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick." And I have a thing for band kids. I mean, my kids march. So I said, "Dude, what's going on? What's your name?" And we tried to talk to him. "What year are you? You know, what do you play?" and stuff. He goes, "I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick." So I was like, you can't turn your head, dude. I can't move you. I can't move you." He was on a board.
Okay.
He was on a board, and they were starting to, in between time, they're triaging, they're banding. The paramedic came over and said, "He can't throw up in his mouth." She goes, "Turn him." She goes, "Just hold his head." So we're holding his head, and we rolled him again, and he's throwing up. And I stayed with him for probably a good 20 minutes or so, and then there's 2 other band kids there. You get up, you throw blankets on them, and go from there.
And then Bill.
And then they took him away. They took Taylor away. They said he was one of the. They said, "We need the worst yellow one."
Yeah.
He was yellow, and then they took him away. So I kind of figured he was kind of rough.
Okay.
Then one of the.
You're talking about the band kid.
One of the band kids. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Then one of the dancing nannies came over. She's holding this guy's shoe, and she's walking as the paramedics are carrying her husband on a backboard.
Yeah.
And they set him down, and she goes, "His name is Bill. He's Bill. This is Bill." And she's just got a shoe in.
She was in shock. She didn't.
Yeah. So somebody had moving blankets. I don't know where they came from. There was moving blankets. So we just started putting them moving blankets on her, and you got to hold still. You got to hold still. And some other young girl came over, and she says, "You got to hold still." And I said, "Help me." And we're kind of pinning him with the blanket a little bit to keep him from moving his arms around there. And then the paramedics came over, and they were looking, and there was 2 other band kids, and then they brought another Hispanic guy over there. But that's in the Freeman. That's on the picture.
His picture's in the Freeman. That's him doing this triaging the kids.
I don't know what else he was coming at a good clip, and I thought at first it looked like he was gonna. I don't know. I wasn't sure if he ran over the little island piece or not. I couldn't tell. I couldn't remember that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, because that juts out, and we were in the piece. I don't know if he ran over that, but there was a float or something. It seemed like it was green or blue that was right in front of us that he had to come. I remember him moving over and around it, and he got to the side of it, and then kind of moved back over towards the middle of the street, and that's when he smacked into the lady. So he kind of went around whatever was in front of us, but I can't tell you if he ran over part of the island or not, because we were really close to those island pieces where the trees were. If he would have hit the trees, that would have been it would have stopped, to be honest with you. If he would have hit the trees, maybe. Or we would have been in a world of hurt, but it would have kept people from going. It would have kept them possibly from going farther down.
Our next door neighbor said that they were at the very beginning. They said that he spared their life because the kids were playing in the street, and he honked his horn and told them to get out of the way.
You need to talk to Jason next door. He was the one that heard. He kept telling that he honked the horn, at the very beginning down by the old Ace Hardware.
And told them and shooed them. Said, "Get out of the
He
way."
said, "Get out of the way. You need to talk to Jason, my neighbor."
I will.
He said he spared
Is he home
his
right
kid's
now?
life.
He should be. We talked to him a little while ago. I can go over and get him, but he's the one that they were down on the very end, right by
the apartments.
the apartments
Where
and
the
by
parade
Ace.
starts.
Yes, by Ace Hardware in the Mexican Palomar or the
Palomar.
Mexican, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So we didn't understand that from what we saw. So
yeah.
we had no idea it even went that far, because as people were communicating and talking and people are filming and taking pictures, and then the police came and said, if you need to make a statement, everybody gather here, I'll get your name and number,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And people started talking and going, where were you standing? And the lady says, well, I was all the way down by Planned Parenthood. And she's like,
Yeah,
over
that's
by
right.
the corner. And she's like, he went around the corner. And I was like, oh my God, because
Our neighbor was down that way, down on that. It hit him, Andrew, and that they left for the afternoon, but his daughter saw somebody get hit. But they were down towards that end past Magellan's and down by, I don't know exactly where, but they were past Magellan's down before the curve that way. So he was down on one end, we were in the middle.
So
And
Jason over here is at the start.
Jason was at the
You
start.
guys were kind of in the midpoint.
yeah.
And then you have another neighbor that was
But
at the
yeah,
end.
At the end.
Andrew and Tara was. I don't know if Tara was there, but I know Cammie saw. They saw
Her
the
little
blood
girl.
and stuff over there. They're kind of.
I'm going to be honest, it's kind of hard hearing what you guys are saying.
It
It's very hard. I'm trying my best to keep it together.
It was
sucked.
very
Yeah.
it's very because he literally hit her right in front of me. His car came at I'm talking inches, not even a half a foot to a foot from me,
Yeah.
and I saw her fly in the air, land on the car, and he drove with her on the car for just a short, very super short
Yeah.
distance, and so he literally hit her twice.
Okay.
I don't know. If
So
she,
that was-
I don't know if she was. I don't know if she
She-
was alive when we got there or not.
I think she was
just-
taking her last breath when we got there, maybe.
I don't know, but I know the guy was off duty. I don't remember if he said EMT or paramedic. I think he said paramedic. I
Okay.
couldn't tell you where he was, but he's the one that said we had to do CPR, and then that's to the point where we rolled over.
I think you hit on it, Vera. This wasn't one of these incidents where someone has a stroke, someone has some sort of medical condition or something, they hit the gas, something tragic happens, and it's one of those incidents where it's hard to find fault
And
in that individual. There just seems to be so much trauma and chaos being done that
it seemed like there was thought behind it, because if you see some of the videos, the way he drove around certain things and toward certain things, there had to be thought. It wasn't just random. It wasn't just... And why would he spare in the beginning the children and tell them to get out of the way, and then
Yeah.
at the end just say, well, I'm done. Screw it. And just literally closed his eyes and just said, went for it or what? I don't know. But he missed all the cars and stuff that are in there and were hitting people.
right.
So he's actively avoiding big barriers.
I think.
You guys didn't see. I'm sorry for cutting
No,
you.
sir. Go.
You didn't see him hitting any of the Waukesha South marching band, did you?
No, we were far down. We were quarter. I don't know how far that street is. We were eighth of a mile, quarter of a mile down.
Yeah.
We were already down in front of the Clark. That was past 5 Points, and we did have people that go to our church.
You were relatively close to the 5 Points where you were sitting, right? Though.
We were in between 5 Points and what's that intersection where Steam and Cup is and
Clinton.
People's Park?
Clinton.
We were in between 5 Points and Clinton.
So you think you were in front of Nice Ash?
We were
Yeah,
literally in
literally
front of Nice Ash. I
Ash.
looked back and Nice Ash was at our door, and the
Nice
Clark
Ash.
is in front of us.
Okay.
People's Park is to the left of us, back behind us, and Steaming Cup is right there. And then there's the wine place right in between. We were right in front of the awning for the Clark was like right here, right. I could look at it across the street from us, on the north end of the street.
You are, I don't know how many people I've talked to. But today it's interesting that you were on the same street with Jane, because I talked to her boss this morning. I talked to her coworker who was walking next to her, probably the woman that was saying her name's Jane.
I'm sure it was.
And I talked to her too because I said, do you know, because she kept saying her name was Jane. I said, do you work with her? Can you have somebody you could call? Can you call somebody? Because she had her phone, because her phone was at her feet, because she had like a little crossbody purse.
Yeah.
And I was like, honey, she was hit really hard. Do you know somebody you could call?
Right.
Because she needs, to go.
And last night I was dealing with her husband, John.
That's it. John
He goes to our church.
And John goes
Does
to
he?
our church. In fact, my pastor a little while ago asked if he could. I still don't know how I feel about it. I told him, because Pastor Todd's going to talk to John tonight, and I said, just let her know that I got to pray for her. I don't know if she was there or not, honestly, Corey. I don't, but I did get to pray for her, and if that gave some comfort to, I don't know. I don't know if she was alive or not. I know she was. I know she wasn't breathing when we were doing compressions. I know that. If there was a brief moment before that, and I know her eyes were open.
Yeah.
They were not responsive.
Okay.
Because he checked for that, the paramedic or whoever that guy was, the off-duty guy. And I remember him closing her eyes, because we looked one moment, they were open, and then I saw him kind of close her eyes. I don't know who the guy was. There was another, I think she said she was a nurse.
Trauma nurse.
A trauma nurse. She had a long black jacket, kind of blonde, about my age, and she switched off. She did compressions after I did, and then the paramedic did it. And then at that time, the fire department came up with AD, and he moved over to help them, and I took over the compressions on that, and then that was after that. But
Well, you think of all the people that were injured, all the people that were killed, but now I'm starting to look at you. I mean, you guys are emotionally scarred from this, and the whole community's emotionally scarred by this.
Yeah.
I'm worried about her. His daughter is a little shaken up. Andrew's daughter, her name's
She's
Cammie.
5.
She's
5.
5. And she saw blood. Sutton was there, and they were walking back towards his car. And Jason said that Sutton saw some blood, and he's like, "Oh, people just got hurt. They'll be okay." And that she seems to be better. Cammie, he said, was crying last night, cried herself to sleep, but we saw her out a little while ago, and she was kind of playing and keeping her mind off of it. So
Yeah.
Hopefully,
but
I don't know
I
if
think
it
you should talk
registers.
to Jason.
I am going to
I'm
talk
sure
to
you talked to
Jason.
people that were down on that end, but I thought it was interesting because I saw the roof video, the unedited one, and I was like, oh, it was rough.
You guys were kind of random. I got done talking to the supervisor this morning, the coworker just a little bit ago. I got back to the station. I asked, who's in charge of witnesses, who else needs to be talked to, and he said I can come talk to you guys.
Yeah.
So it's rather random at this point, but it's an interesting.
Well, we waited. We went back after we covered up the kids with the blankets and stuff to keep them warm. I went and stood up at the corner where we were supposed to stay, where the police told us to stay, to, give your name and stuff, well, if we need your first statement. So I went back to there, and she's like, I want to go home, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Because it was,
And right at that point, the police officer said, hey, okay, we're good. I forget what he
he said,
said.
if you don't have any family members here that are injured, please
Yeah, he
leave."
said leave. So we did, and she
Yeah.
wanted to go home at that point anyway. So I said,
Where we helped the lady and she died and passed and died, whatever, and they took her away. They had the one granny that was on a gurney that they wrapped, and then the other granny was,
see the granny on the.
I mean,
gurney.
she could have, I mean, there was so much, because I went up when they were originally doing whatever with her, and they just wrapped blankets on her. Because at that point, they had to attend to the people who were still alive.
Yeah.
They had to help who they could, and they knew who they had to leave alone.
So I called right away this morning. It was like first thing when I tried to get some sleep and stuff this morning. And
Thank
I'm
you.
surprised that they were there. That I don't know what to do, but they, if there's anything you need or anything.
No, I appreciate you guys calling.
We can do. I don't know if it helps or not.
It does help. It does help.
He was coming at a good clip. I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly mile an hour. If I had to guess, it was between 30 and 40 miles an hour. He was moving, and it did look like he was. I want to say accelerated. I can't prove that. I can't say it, but it was. It was faster than what you should be normally doing down that street.
Right.
If there was any traffic out
Right.
and through there, he
Do you-
was definitely moving.
Do you remember hearing the engine or anything like that? Any
I-
vehicle revving?
I did hear the engine revving, but I couldn't tell if it was accelerating or not, because I told Vera, I said, it sounded like he was, we were sitting there trying to process everything last night, and I was trying to go, okay, should I write stuff down?
And I can't. had
I
to hear
couldn't
it.
tell if it was accelerating, if it was revving. I do remember hearing the engine, I will tell you that.
Yeah.
I will do that. I don't know if it was fast or slower. I can't tell you that.
Being as close as you guys were, but you had a lot to process. I am wondering, did you actually get to see the driver of the vehicle?
Didn't.
I couldn't even
didn't.
see. I didn't even see the color of the car.
Okay.
I didn't even see the type, the style, the
You're-
color.
You're sitting down looking straight ahead.
I was looking to my left when the car came from my right. I
Okay.
was looking back at, laughing and da, and then all of a sudden he hit. I turned and I was
Yeah.
facing forward, and he hit her right in front of me, like inches from me, and
And I was
it
looking,
didn't seem real. It didn't. At first, we all thought, like when we talked to the people around us, we thought it was like some sort of a skit or a gig, or we didn't know.
I was looking, I didn't see I saw the car, I saw the balloon, the flame, not the balloon, but the actual flame, and I was like, oh, there it is. And then I just kind of looked down, and that's when I saw the car coming at me, and I saw the dent, but I didn't see inside the windshield or anything like that. I couldn't tell you
Okay.
who, what, when, or where. I know it's not much help, but
You guys have been extremely helpful.
I could tell you that car, the passenger front on the hood and above that light and everything was dented in through there at that point before he got to us.
It was done
So-
before that.
He must have smacked into something before then, or it was done before he got to the brake. I don't know, but I can definitely tell. And it was a good dent. I will tell you that it was a good sized dent. It was the whole hood, top of the hood part on the passenger side above the light. I don't remember if the light was broken or not, but I can tell you that the hood was dented.
Okay. Okay. No.
And he hit her with a thud. It was that will, like I said, that will haunt me. That thud. It was the bam. It was bad.
And seeing him.
She went up in the air a good piece. I can tell you that.
Well, it's
I remember seeing her up in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Everyone's recollections about this is a little different. I mean, they all mesh together. They're all the same
Yeah.
in some regards, but the details in some of the stories are not the same. And it doesn't mean it's just what someone else has been focusing on.
Mhm.
You guys were extremely detailed. Thank you. But her friend, had a hard time describing the thud. Then her supervisors saw the impact. So
I'm worried about her husband,
Yeah, that was rough.
and especially since my pastor said he was at the third. I opened
Church
the door.
that morning.
I was at church. I'm the usher I'm the door greeter at church, and I remember him coming in. I don't remember her coming in that morning, but I remember him because he has kind of a unique. But I remember him, and it's like I just saw those guys that, and I didn't know who she was when we were trying to help, and I don't know if it was any help at that point, but.
Yeah, I'm looking at this as you guys were victimized by this too. And then the kids.
I'm
Yeah.
worried about the kids.
That's what we're.
I mean, how can you ever have another parade like this?
Huh?
We
Well,
run the
we'll be
parade.
fine 1 minute and then we just start bawling, and it's like we're fine, and then you just start bawling because your mind just keeps replaying it over and over and over, and you're trying to figure out like the reasoning and what's happening and what we saw, because I mean just the sights and the smells and the just everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything, because the wind, it was so bad,
It
and
was
his
really
coffee
bad.
cup, he
Yeah.
put his coffee cup down, and everything was going across the street, like people's chairs would catch wind, and we're going, and he went to go after the coffee cup, and he's like, oh,
I'm not
just
kidding.
let
That
it
was
be, I'm not doing that, and that was
30
seconds.
30 seconds. Maybe
Seconds
maybe
before.
15 seconds before that. My coffee cup blew across the thing, and I'm like, I'll leave it or whatever. I turned back and I said something to Dan, and then I looked, and then that's when I was looking for the thing, and then we saw him there. I mean, 15, 20 seconds, maybe my coffee cup blew across the thing.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, that could have been really bad. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything else or anything you need from us?
Just some information regarding you guys as far as the names, dates of birth.
Your driver's license?
I don't need it. I can just take it.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to record it, though. I don't know if I would do it justice. Vera, Vera.
Correct.
Dale, your middle initial.
Do you want me to see if Jason is available to come over?
If you want to, that or I can walk over.
Let me see if he can come over.
This is
here, 'cause
35.
Let me do that because I don't want Sutton to have to hear that, to be honest.
The story, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want him to. Let me see if he may not be home. He was home a little while ago.
What's his cell phone number that you guys can be contacted at? Okay. Is that yours or is that
That's Dale's,
Dale's? Do you have a cell phone?
yeah,
What is it? Is that like a work phone or
so,
so?
the Florida number, we moved here from Florida several years ago.
You
I
did,
just never switched it,
you did the exact opposite most people do.
I know.
Why'd you do that?
Work,
Okay.
and we would never go back though.
There's a lot
You would
of-
never go back? Why?
It's beautiful here. The summer, or the winter's long, but
Yeah.
you give stuff to get stuff.
Yeah. My roommate from college, he retired down to Florida,
Mm.
Nope.
and
You keep it.
he spends his summers up here. He says you don't realize how good it is until you're gone for a while, and then so.
I could do the
That's right, I took
the
them off.
back and forth thing. I
Yeah.
could do that, but not 20 all the time.
do it at my house. I do it at your house. Yeah, but I do.
Hey Jason, my name.
Okay. All right. Your call number, is it 42 or 40?
I'm 42.
You're 42.
Yes.
Okay. And you were Main and Gaspar, correct?
Correct.
All right. So, what time did you get to your location? Do you remember?
I would say about 3:20.
Okay. And was anybody else at that location with you?
Yeah, John
John
Kangas.
Kangas.
is our Saturday park agent.
Okay. 46?
Yes. I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay. And was he right there with you? Were you guys on the same side of the road, or?
You mean at 3:20 when we got there? Or
At that location?
yeah.
You were supposed to both be there?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Were you
right.
guys on the same side of the road, opposites? or
Well,
something
before
else?
the parade, we were just kind of walking around.
Okay.
Between, kind of like by Gelato and probably down towards the joke shop.
Okay.
And but when the parade started, he was on the north side of the street,
Okay.
and I was on the south side of the street.
Okay. And you guys stayed on those sides
Correct. During the
through
parade.
during the duration. Okay. And did you stay at that intersection, or did you keep walking up and down the street
I kept,
after the parade started?
Oh, after the parade, I kind of was just. My job was to just make sure the kids stayed behind a certain line. So if I would just kind of monitor the whole time,
Okay.
seeing if a child was stepping out too far, and then I would go to where it was, and tell them just to back up a little bit,
Okay.
or if the candy was being thrown, it was thrown in the middle and they were running out in the road, and I'd be like, you need to back up, let me get the candy for you, and I'd
Okay.
push the candy back or kick it or whatever.
Okay.
So pretty much that's what I was just keeping an eye on, just to make sure the kids didn't run into the street.
Okay. And by and large, I guess it's mine. The crowds pretty much either stayed curb or like in the parking lane.
Yeah, in the parking lane.
Okay.
Yep.
So there were chairs set up in the parking lane, or were?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay. So parade starts, and
Just business as usual. Just,
Okay.
just keeping an eye on the kids and just making sure everybody's safe behind the line, and just, I guess I just watch pretty much candy police.
okay.
Just making sure they stay safe.
Okay. And then, did you hear any radio transmissions? Was there anything else going on? Were you on the primary channel, or were you on?
I was on 3.
You were on 3. Okay.
Mhm.
Did you scan it all? Or?
I did hear the call come in about man with a knife. I did
Okay.
hear, I think it was Reserve Troutman call
Okay.
that in.
Okay.
And then I heard whoever responded saying that there was nothing active.
Okay.
And then after that, I didn't hear anything. Like, I didn't hear any radio conversations about this car.
Okay.
The first time I saw it, it was heading towards where I was standing, and then there was a little bump out. I think it was right, kind of like by Gelato.
Okay.
And then I saw him like swerve to the left, and I looked right at him, and he had like this, he was just looking straight ahead. His eyes were open really wide, didn't have any expression on his face. He was just driving straight. And then that's when he hit the first person. I think it was a drummer. Hit him, and then I believe he hit 2 other after that. And I thought he ran. I think it was a girl. I think he ran her over. Because then after that, it was just chaos. People were just running everywhere. People were screaming. I didn't see him because people were coming up to me. We need an ambulance. We need, just panic. And I did radio that I needed. I was on 3. I don't know if anybody heard it. I just said I need I need an ambulance. I have several people down. Car drove through the parade. And then just the kids were just laying there, and people were tending to them. And then people were running up to me and asking me where their kids were, and I'm like, I don't know. That's before it became. This was like almost maybe 5 minutes after, before there were stations set up for people to go to.
Right.
And I just remember his face. I mean, I just remember his, and then hitting those kids.
Is there anything, any details, descriptors about his face? You mentioned you could see his eyes were
Yeah, and
wide.
I could see there was a beard. I saw that. I saw the beard. I could tell it was long hair, but at that time, I couldn't tell if it was dreadlocks or not.
Okay.
But I did see the long hair and the beard.
Okay. Anything else about?
And to be honest with you, at the time, when I looked at him, he looked like a white guy.
Okay.
When I was looking at him, he just looked like a white guy with a beard and long hair.
Okay.
And then I don't even know if he came close to me. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Do you remember the vehicle, what it looked like, or?
I knew it was like a maroon or burgundy vehicle. I didn't see the make or the model.
Okay.
I knew it was a burgundy SUV type of vehicle, though.
Okay. And the first time you saw the vehicle, it was already by Gelato, or that's the first time you saw the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, so west of Barstow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. West Barstow.
And you said it hit the curb.
It didn't hit the curb. It looked like he looked like he veered around, like he was going to go around, but then that bump out was there.
Okay.
So then he came back over, and then once he got past that little bump out, then he kind of went to the left, and then came back towards the right, towards the band.
Okay. So when you first saw it,
My brain couldn't comprehend what the hell was going. Like
Right.
I saw it, and I'm like, it didn't look right, but I never thought in a million years it was somebody that was gonna take people out.
Mhm.
I just thought maybe it was a parent following the. I didn't know. I didn't even know. I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know what the hell what it was.
could you tell, I mean, as far as the speed of the vehicle?
It didn't seem like it was going that fast, because it looked like when he kind of was trying to get around that little bump, that kind of made him slow down.
Okay.
So I think maybe that was probably a good thing, because I think the injuries would have been a lot worse.
Okay.
But I know, I think he just gained speed after that.
Okay. How could you tell, or what makes you think
Well,
that?
I'm just going by the amount of injuries that there were.
Okay.
And I mean, my kids were injured, but I don't know. I talked to my cousin and her husband who were at Magellan's,
Right.
and they said they could hear an engine revving when they were at Magellan's.
Okay. Your cousins?
Yeah, my cousin and her husband. Yeah.
Okay. What are?
Junior, my cousin's husband, saw 3 people get hit.
Okay. What's his name?
His name is Junior.
Okay. Do you know if he spoke with anybody from the police department or anything?
I don't think so, because
Okay.
I just saw them on.
Okay. Do you have a phone number for him?
Yeah, I just know
He saw it. And you said he was by Magellan's.
Yeah, they rented a booth or whatever.
Okay.
You can rent a booth there, and let me get my glasses. He's really messed up for this.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, I think he said, unless I got it wrong, but I thought he said some guy tried to jump on the car to stop it, or
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know.
I could, I could reach out to him, see if he'd be willing to talk about this. And
Yeah.
obviously, we get it. It's been pretty traumatic for everybody.
Yeah, that's just it. It's not one person that's
Right.
screwed up for a lifetime. It's hundreds of people.
Yes. Okay. So just so that I have, I guess, the picture more correct, when you first saw the car on Main Street, was it on the north side of the road, on the south side of the road? Because you said it swerved to the...
Yeah, it was on, like, I just saw the top. It was on the south side,
Okay.
like on my side.
Okay.
And then, like I said, it went like this, and I think it saw the bump out, and it went kind of back. But at that point, it didn't hit anybody.
Okay.
And then once he got around the bump, he kind of went
Right into the...
right into the band, the
Okay.
back of the band.
Okay, so he was pretty much riding the curb line. Is that right? Like between where, okay, so the band's in the middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
He was initially between the band and the parking lane. And you talk about this bump out. I'm assuming one of those parking.
Yeah, it's
Some-
decorative
Okay.
little bump out where a tree is or whatever.
Okay, so he went around that, and that's when he went into the band.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we swerved right back into the parade route.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, and that's when he struck some of the band members. Could you tell how many he struck?
I believe it was 3.
Okay. Okay.
I think it was 2 males and a female. I'm not sure.
Okay. And after he struck these 3, where, I guess, did you see the vehicle continue on? What happened next?
I, to be honest with you, I didn't really see it continue on because the crowd all ran in the middle of the
Okay.
road. It was just chaos after
Right.
that. So I'm short, so I couldn't really see where it went.
Okay, okay,
John was up a little bit further.
okay,
Probably by the antique store
okay,
on the north side. So I'm sure he probably got a better look after the fact.
okay,
So, but yeah,
Okay.
after they were hit, there was just people running everywhere. I was
Rushed.
trying to radio for
Okay.
help, and yeah, so I didn't get to see where it went.
okay. Okay, so the crowd's rushing. What happens next? You call for ambulances. Did you remain at that location the whole time?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I think twice I walked over to see how Michelle was doing, because Michelle was at Bank Street in Madison and Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
But she was directing traffic, so I didn't want to bother her.
Okay. So you walked down there?
Yeah, I walked
Okay.
down there.
Okay.
I think twice I went to go see how she was doing, but both times she was really busy, so I just
Went back.
I went back to my
Okay.
gas burn in Maine. And I believe we were there till
8 at night?
8:30,
Okay.
8:30. 6, or is it 6? I don't remember.
It's okay.
It was either 6,
It's okay.
I don't remember.
Okay. You said you went to check on Michelle, but never made it down there because she was busy directing traffic. Did at any point anyone approach you? I have video. I saw who did it. Anything like that?
I had one kid come up to me and show me he had a picture of the license plate, and I got Officer Condon.
Okay.
And then Officer Condon had him sit in Fleet 40, and I don't
Okay.
know what happened after that.
Okay, so you got this kid to Condon and
Right.
Okay. Anybody else approach you with similar video or information or anything like that?
No video, just parents looking for their kids.
Okay.
One girl from the band. I think she was in shock. She was just standing there with her clarinet, like perfectly still. And I approached her and I'm like, "Honey, are you okay?" And all she said is, "I want my mom and dad." And I said, "It's okay." I said, "It's okay." I said, "Come sit." And I took over by 40. I'm like, "Just sit down." I said, they'll be here. And then they must have came down and got her because I didn't see her after that.
Okay.
But and then after that, it was just, like I said, it was just chaos.
Okay. Were you asked to do anything by any of the other officers as far as standing by evidence or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
no, I did. The only thing I told Andy and Dave,
Mm-hmm.
because they were walking down with a camera.
Right.
And I don't know, and I told them, I said, I believe this is where the first person was hit, because there was blood there, and that's where I believe that one of the drummers from the band were hit. I don't know if anybody was hit before that.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But that's what I thought, because, like I said, I don't know if it's because the band was right in front of me that I didn't hear what was happening
Okay.
before that.
Okay.
Like, I didn't hear anything about a car.
The band was
nothing.
playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, the band was playing.
Okay.
When it was by me. So I didn't hear any radio traffic about a car busting through or whatever.
Okay. All right. And then you said you guys were there till 6, 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
Somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
I was just trying to figure out.
Okay. Where did you go up when you were relieved from the scene?
Nobody even told us to leave. What had happened was after the ambo took the kids,
Mm-hmm.
at that point there was a New Berlin officer standing at Gaspar and Main with a rifle, and finally, I don't know, maybe after 2-3 hours, I don't even know, I lost track of time.
Okay.
I just told John, I go, everything's kind of cleared up down here. I said, why don't we head back to the, because I know Warner said anybody who was a witness needs to go to the EOS, the annex.
Okay.
And sit. And so I told him at that point, I'm like, why don't we head back?
Okay.
I said, we have an officer here.
Okay.
I didn't know, obviously, what her job duty was at the
Okay.
time, but, so we got into 40 and we went back to the annex.
Okay. And at the annex, you spoke with me.
Yeah, I spoke with
Okay.
her.
Did you talk to anybody before we spoke about anything, or?
Just Michelle and
Okay.
John, we just kind of talked about what happened
Okay.
in our
Okay.
office.
Okay. And you think it was maybe a New Berlin officer that came and took up Gasper and me?
Yeah, I knew it was because she had
Okay.
she had on her uniform.
Okay. Is there anything else you can think of that we didn't already discuss, whether it was about hearing something in the crowd, the vehicle, the person driving the vehicle, the red SUV, anything that we haven't really covered yet? Were you able to see any clothing on this person? Or
No,
no?
I,
Okay.
no, I just saw his face.
Okay. Okay.
No, I didn't see any clothing.
Excuse me.
Please keep the victims and witnesses in your thoughts and prayers. I have included a link to the Waukesha Community Foundation Fund if you would like to learn how you can support the victims impacted by this tragedy. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.